Ladies and gentlemen, what happened to America's affordable retirement towns? Retirement advice used to be very simple. Sell a house, move somewhere warmer, buy a cheaper place, and spend your golden years fighting over restaurant coupons and the thermostat. Everyone was sold the same dream. Then retirees arrived, investors followed, vacation rentals multiplied, and remote workers showed up with big city paychecks and money to burn. Developers added pickleball courts, decorative fountains, and HOA fees. Meanwhile, insurance rates exploded, healthcare got crowded, and property taxes finally realized that $140,000 homes didn't bring in the same tax dollars as a multi-million-dollar monstrosity with a pool, maids' quarters, and granite tops everywhere. Some of the places everyone retired to are not the affordable dream anymore. Today we're looking at 10 retirement spots that felt like bargains until the rest of America discovered them. Let's take a look. Number 10, Hot Springs, Arkansas, the bargain that may be living on borrowed time. Hot Springs has long been a retirement bargain. Affordable homes, lakes, historic bathhouses, healthcare, and enough tourists to keep things lively without turning Arkansas into the discount version of Orlando. Compared to Florida, Arizona, and the mountain states, retirees could buy a house without draining their savings or launching a family GoFundMe. But bargains rarely stay secrets. Retirees, investors, vacation home buyers, and Airbnb operators are now competing for properties near lakes and historic districts. Hot Springs is affordable, but tourism wages don't always keep up with rising housing costs. The people serving breakfast and cleaning vacation rentals are now competing with newcomers carrying retirement savings and home equity from pricier states. Recent retirement rankings still describe Hot Springs as affordable, but that affordability is based partly on older housing cost data. It remains a bargain by national standards, although the direction is becoming clear. Every article is calling Hot Springs the undiscovered retirement gem. That removes a layer of its camouflage. And then everyone learns about it. As an example, in April of 2021, the average home value was $161,000 in Hot Springs. In April of 2026, it was $244,000. That is only 5 years, folks, and around an $80,000 difference. Now, Hot Springs hasn't lost its affordability yet. It's just been placed on an endangered species list. Number 9, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Remote workers found the secret. 15 years ago, Chattanooga was a retirement secret. Mountains, a walkable downtown, solid healthcare, no state income tax on retirement income, and homes priced for actual human beings, not investment firms. Then, Chattanooga got cool. The city upgraded downtown, embraced outdoor living, and installed internet fast enough to attract remote workers from California, New York, and Atlanta. Now, this is all great for the economy. It's less great for retirees who are hoping to buy a bungalow without having to work 60 hours a week driving Uber with their Social Security. Investors piled in, rentals multiplied, and overlooked neighborhoods became the up-and-coming, which is real estate language for start checking Zillow and panicking. Here's an example. In 2021, the average home value was $227,000. In 2026, both in April, it's $324,000. Chattanooga remains attractive. It just graduated from affordable hidden gem to reasonably priced city everyone already knows about. The secret survived approximately as long as secrets normally survive on YouTube, which isn't long. Number 8, Crossville, Tennessee. The affordable golf retirement town is losing its camouflage. Crossville was once the kind of retirement town people discovered through a friend, not a glossy magazine. Sitting in Tennessee's Cumberland Plateau, it offered cheap homes, no state income tax, and so many golf courses, the town practically needs its own caddy. The area has 9 golf courses. For retirees leaving Nashville, Florida, the Midwest, or Northeast, the plan was simple. Sell your expensive house, buy a cheaper one in Crossville, and keep the difference. That still works, just not quite as well. Crossville grew more than 11% between 2010 and 2020, and the prices followed the newcomers uphill. Housing prices now reflect the attention that this place has been getting. In April of 2021, the average home value was about $199,000. In 2026, April, it's $310,000. That's quite a jump, over $110,000. Sane. Planned retirement communities also add costs that don't appear in the listing price. Basic community fees are relatively modest compared to many Florida developments, but residents can pay additional charges for golf, recreation, or other amenities. More serious retirement communities can be far more expensive. Healthcare is another consideration. Crossville has a regional medical center, but some specialized treatments require that you travel to Knoxville, Nashville, or Chattanooga. That may feel manageable at 65 and considerably less charming when your medical appointment turns into a 2-hour road trip. That does seem manageable until you actually have to start doing 2.5-hour road trips to go see your doctor or your specialist. Crossville remains one of the more attainable retirement destinations in Tennessee, but the problem is something like this. It used to be 30 to 40% cheaper than Nashville, Knoxville, Florida, and the Carolinas. Now it's closer to 10 to 15% cheaper. So it's still affordable, just not as much. Against the Crossville of 2016, it feels like somebody's been gouging you. Number 7, Asheville, North Carolina. Tourism ate the retirement town. Asheville was once the unconventional retirement choice. It offered mountain scenery, a lively art scene, historic neighborhoods, independent restaurants, healthcare, and a gentler climate than Florida and, let's say, Phoenix. It was never dirt cheap. It was affordable enough for retirees who wanted culture and nature without paying major city prices. Then Asheville became one of the most recognizable small cities in America. And that's when all the bad crap started to happen. And when I say bad crap, it got expensive. Tourism expanded, breweries multiplied, travel publications repeatedly declared Asheville as one of the country's greatest places to visit, live, eat, retire, hike, drink beer, buy pottery, and own a dog who likes wearing bandanas. The attention brought money, jobs, and investment. It also turned homes into vacation rentals, second residences, and financial assets. Investors could earn more money renting property to weekend visitors than they could a local teacher, nurse, restaurant worker, or retiree. By early 2026, the average home value is $463,000. In 2021, that was $353,000. Now, Hurricane Helene added another layer of uncertainty. The 2024 disaster damaged homes, roads, businesses, and infrastructure across western North Carolina. Asheville still has a bunch of qualities. Unfortunately, everyone else noticed those qualities at roughly the same time, and they're all there now. Number 6, Prescott, Arizona. The retirees were followed by wealthier retirees. Prescott offered an alternative to traditional Arizona retirement experience. It did. I mean, it's where you went if you had a little extra money and you didn't want to be stuffed into the middle of Phoenix. Prescott was supposed to be the cooler, quieter Arizona retirement option. Pine trees, 4 seasons, hiking, a historic downtown, and no Phoenix-style open the front door and enter a broiler experience. It was also affordable until retirees arrived with California-sized home equity. Someone could sell a house for almost $1 million in California and pay cash for a house in Prescott and have money left over to buy a really nice RV, a golf cart, and 17 metal coyotes for your front yard. Prices began reflecting wealthy newcomers instead of local incomes. The market cooled slightly by early 2026, with some homes selling below the asking price, but values are still far higher than they were just 5 years ago in 2021. Example, in 2021, the average home value was $358,000. In April of 2026, it's $463,000. Another issue is healthcare demand. Prescott has medical facilities, but a large and growing senior population places greater pressure on primary care specialists, emergency services, and of course, assisted living. It's a nice place still, but it's getting crowded, and that means prices are starting to climb. I mean, it's showing in their real estate prices, but it's still a great place to live. You ever notice how being healthy now requires 6 different shaker bottles and a morning routine that feels like you're prepping for surgery? I'm not a fan, especially those powdered drinks. That's why I like today's sponsor, Grunes. This isn't just a multivitamin. It's your greens, your prebiotics, and nutrients all packed into one little snack pack a day. Not one sad gummy. You get a whole handful. Got a bunch more down here too. And they actually taste good. You're getting 20 plus vitamins and minerals, plus 60 ingredients that include nutrient defense and whole foods, way more than the usual basic multivitamin that barely shows up for work. Here's where it gets really interesting. Grunes hits gut health, energy, immunity, recovery, and even cognition. It has 3 times the fiber of the leading green powders, plus super mushrooms that help your brain and, of course, your gut health again. You got vitamin C that helps fight off all the stress and junk floating around during cold season. Of course, there's biotin for healthier skin, hair, and nails. It's also vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, no synthetic junk, and you could choose low sugar or no sugar. And apparently, gummies absorb better than tablets, which explains why those chalky pills never felt like they were doing anything. There's also more than 35,000 research publications backing the ingredients, so this isn't just guesswork in a bag. They've also got grunes for kids, so if you got kids, you could trick them into being healthy without negotiating. Bottom line, instead of juggling 5 different supplements, just eat 1 pack and move on with your day like a normal human being. If you've been putting off getting healthy because it sounds exhausting, this is probably the easiest way to start. And today you can get up to 52% off by clicking the link in the description area below. Back to the video. Number 5, St. George, Utah. The desert retirement escape became a boomtown. St. George used to look like retirement cheat mode. Red rock views, golf, low crime, and homes cheaper than Las Vegas, California, and Salt Lake City. Then everyone found out, just like so many of these places. They all find out and they all start coming there. Retirees arrived, followed by families, investors, remote workers, and developers who saw open desert and immediately pictured subdivisions. Everyone sees subdivisions when they look at any plot of land. New homes went up fast, but prices climbed faster. Buyers from California and northern Utah showed up with cash, while locals earning local wages were left competing with people carrying home equity the size of a small casino. Of course, retirement communities added pools, clubhouse, golf, and landscaping, along with HOA fees that quietly nibbled your monthly budget to death. St. George is still beautiful if you love the desert. I'm not a desert guy, but I've been to St. George and it is beautiful. Kind of just forgot to stay affordable while it remained beautiful. In 2021, the average home value was about $380,000. In April of 2026, it's $518,000. Water is another long-term concern here. St. George sits in one of the driest regions in the country, yet its growth model includes lawns, golf courses, resorts, and thousands of additional homes. Local governments are just telling everyone to save water. I mean, they're doing a lot of, new water strategies and conservations, but that might be too big of a hurdle for these places. Eventually, they're going to have to do something because it ain't cutting it. I mean, this is the whole West, too. San Diego now has a desalinization plant because they were running out of water. So that's a plus. They need more of that all down the West Coast. But St. George is no longer the inexpensive little desert town people discovered decades ago. It has become a polished retirement and recreation center with prices that match. Number 4, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Remote migration brought big city money. Coeur d'Alene used to be an affordable escape from pricier Pacific Northwest cities. Yes, Idaho is considered a Pacific Northwest state, along with Washington and Oregon. And I know a lot of people don't like to accept that. It's just a map, okay? Retirees got lakes, views, outdoor recreation, decent healthcare, and a comfortable life without paying Seattle prices. And Seattle prices are freaking crazy. Then everyone discovered it. Remote workers arrived with a lot of money, while homeowners from California, Washington, and Oregon just started showing up paying cash for houses like money didn't matter to them. Woo! They're just going to throw it out like they're at a strip club, but they're throwing it at real estate agents and realtors. Cash offers surged, prices exploded, and the affordable retirement bargain quietly packed its bags and left town in a hurry. Now, this is a really weird one. There's a real big difference between the 2 zip codes of Coeur d'Alene. 83815, the average home value there in April of 2021 was $434,000. In 2026, it's $566,000. Now, there's another side of the tracks here. In the 83814 zip code, it is $736,000 in April of this year. In 2021, April, it was $538,000. That's a big difference. It's almost like comparing Compton to Beverly Hills. The population growth also affected life here. The peaceful lake community retirees imagined now include more construction, more subdivisions, and a housing market increasingly disconnected from the locals. I mean, really disconnected. Coeur d'Alene didn't become less beautiful. Beauty became one of its largest expenses. I like Coeur d'Alene, been there a few times. I got a lot of friends that have retired there. Yes, from California. and from Oregon. And this is one thing I noticed from friends from Southern California. A lot of them became police officers, and a lot of them, for some reason, retired to Coeur d'Alene and the area. So there's a ton of ex-police living in most of Idaho, really. But yeah, Coeur d'Alene's a big stopping point for them. For some reason, Bishop, California, too. Don't know what's all going on in Bishop, but anyway, moving on. Number 3, Bend, Oregon. Outdoor recreation became a luxury product. Bend was once a blue-collar logging town surrounded by extraordinary scenery. I've been to Bend. Beautiful. When the timber economy weakened, the city reinvented itself around outdoor recreation, tourism, breweries, technology, healthcare, and a lifestyle you'll get no place else. That transformation was economically successful. It also turned a former working town into one of the most expensive cities in the West. Retirees loved Bend because it offered mountains, rivers, trails, skiing, restaurants, cultural activities, and a major regional hospital. It felt energetic without being enormous, and it was considerably cheaper than Portland, Seattle, and the Bay Area. Then people from Portland, Seattle, and the Bay Area began selling expensive homes there, typical story, and they showed up in Bend with all this money. Remote workers joined them, and investors purchased vacation rentals. You're starting to see a cycle here. They all go through it. And then Bend just got terribly expensive. And this has been going on past 2021 or before 2021, but in 2021, April, the average home value was $608,000. That was already quite a jump of about $250,000 from 2011. But in April of 2026, the average home value was $738,000. Bend was no longer selling affordability, it was selling lifestyle. And lifestyle is one of the most aggressively marked up products in America. Bend has a solid regional medical care, like I'd said, but patients that need highly specialized treatment may still need to travel to Portland, where they got a bunch of hospitals, really nice ones too. Bend remains an excellent place for affluent retirees. That single word, affluent, is doing a lot of the heavy lifting for this one. Number 2, Cape Coral, Florida. Insurance replaced the mortgage. Cape Coral was built around Florida retirement fantasies. Cheap waterfront homes, endless canals, warm winters, and no state income tax. What more could a gray hair want? For years, it worked, and then Florida set the invoice. And that invoice was shocking. Pandemic buyers drove prices through the roof. Hurricane Ian tore through the area in 2022, and insurance companies responded by charging homeowners like every roof came with its own hurricane. Even as home prices cooled, ownership stayed expensive. Insurance, flood coverage, roof rules, storm protection, maintenance, utility assessments, and property taxes can add thousands to your budget every year. Florida's homestead protections helped longtime residents, but newcomers might be hit with a much higher tax bill after the home is reassessed. The Cape Coral housing market cooled sharply in early 2026. It peaked in 2022, where the average home value was about $431,000. Now, the drop is partly because high insurance premiums and other ownership costs kind of weakened buyer demand. It created lower asking prices, but that didn't, lessen the underlying expense problem. Even though the housing has gone down, other real estate things you got to pay for, those skyrocketed. In April of 2021, the average home value was about $284,000. In April of 2026, it's $338,000. And that's down, like I'd said. If we would have made this video a couple years ago, it would have been a lot worse. Cape Coral demonstrates the modern retirement trap perfectly. The house may be cheaper, but the cost of keeping that house sort of seems unfair these days. All right, before we get to number 1, if you're thinking about moving to any one of these places for retirement, there's a link for a nice website called Home and Money. They can get you in touch with a real estate agent anywhere in the country. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Naples, Florida. The affordable retirement town that became a luxury brand. Naples used to be a quiet Gulf Coast town where middle-class retirees could buy a modest home and live comfortably. Then wealthy retirees, investors, luxury developers, and second home buyers arrived, just like all the other places on this. Home prices climbed, golf communities expanded, and even older condos began carrying painful HOA fees, insurance costs, reserve charges, and special assessments. They always get you with the special assessments. Some Naples condos now have annual association fees above $25,000 before taxes, utilities, insurance, or the mortgage. Naples still has the beaches, it's got the Gulf, It's got the restaurants, good healthcare. Naples didn't just stop being a retirement destination, it simply raised the cover charge. As an example, in April of 2021, the average home value here was $394,000, under $400,000. That's not bad for a nice place in Florida. In April of 2026, that price is $548,000. Yeah, a little bit of a jump there. Meanwhile, the people that were already living in those communities got pushed farther away. Teachers, nurses, restaurant workers, tradespeople, caregivers, and first responders often couldn't afford the housing that was created for healthier newcomers. The thing is, developers realized they could charge 3 times what something's really worth if they call it something that includes the words exclusive, private, or championship. I don't know what championship. I know that has to do with golf, but still. And that should concern retirees too. An expensive retirement town does not function very well when nurses, plumbers, home health aides, mechanics, and a person making breakfast all need to live 45 minutes away. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. I'll see you in the next video. Everyone, be nice to each other.